welcome everybody back. Power Pellet Podcast, episode number 11. Today is July 23rd, 2014. It's also a Wednesday. I'm your co-host, Davench. I'm here with Akimbo Merk. What up?
What's up, man? What's up? This is your host, Akimbo Merk. Welcome back. It's been a long time since I left you without a dope podcast to listen to.
If you rapping like that, thank God. Nah,
Yo,
I'm joking. What's been up, man?
Let's do some housekeeping real quick, man. So, Power Pellet Podcast, we have created a group on Facebook. It's called the Power Pellet Podcast Group. Again, I'm trying to foster a little bit more discussion with the listeners and gamers and stuff like that. Even if you don't, I guess if you don't listen to the show, you wouldn't hear this. So scratch that. But I want to talk to y'all, man. Discuss some of the things that we bring to the show. So, and maybe get some of you guys to come on and give your opinion. So that's really it for right now. You know, you can also find us again on YouTube. You'll find episodes 1 through 10. You'll also find us on Facebook, of course, Twitter. You want to email us. Our email is powerpelletpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on iTunes. You can find us on Stitches. So we everywhere. You can't say that you don't know where we are or how to reach us. So that's really it, Jay.
Yep, everything is searchable. Power Pellet Podcast. You can also reach me on Twitter, Davench2Nami. Man, it's been a couple weeks since the last time we got together.
Yeah, it has, man. And a lot has happened, man. I'm pretty much started off. I'm going to tell you what I've been playing in my system, other than the basics. Grand Theft Auto, yeah. Last of Us. The beta for Destiny, man. Yeah, so you were nice enough to send me a code for the PlayStation 3. It took about 20 minutes to download, probably another 5 or 10 minutes to install. But after that, I was up and running. It was very smooth. I got into the game, kind of went through the first intro level, which shows you how to, work the player and stuff like that. I found the controls to be nice. The controls reminded me of kind of a Call of Duty Battlefield mashup, so I picked them up real easy, and I always loved that about a first-person shooter game.
Yeah, real tight. The controllers was real snug.
Yeah, they're real tight, but they mimic other games, so I don't feel like I have to learn something new.
I think it because Xbox did that a long time ago on the Xbox 360, where you can set your first-person shooter controls, and I feel like you should be able to do that for every first-person shooter game. So playing on the you had no problem playing on the Destiny with the PS3 controller, then, huh?
No. It felt like Call of Duty controllers. That's exactly what it felt like as far as the buttons, where the buttons are located, how to aim and how to shoot. So I picked it up right away, instantly. I would say. Okay. So
what else you been playing?
What else have I been playing?
Did you play anything else?
I've been having a lot of fun on The Last of Us, man. I can't get past it, man. It's just a good game. It's just a really good game. I played some Skyrim again, played a little GTA, of course, but the beta, man, I'm at a level 8 right now, 7 or 8.
Yeah, so you maxed out then.
Yeah, 8 is the most you can get so far, and I played a little bit of the beta today after they dropped the update or did maintenance on Monday and Wednesday. So I'm eager to see if they increase the cap you can go as far as leveling up. Probably not, but I'm going to check it out anyway.
Yeah, I've been playing. I played the beta. I finally got to play the beta. When I went to go play it on the 21st, I had to literally wait for it to download overnight because it was so much traffic from everybody else playing it. So I didn't get to play it on the 21st when I got my code. And then obviously it was down yesterday for the maintenance, like you said. And then I got to play it for about 30, 45 minutes today. So I did that a little bit.
Yeah, I was listening to a fellow podcast as well, and they were talking about how long it was taking when the codes first dropped. So you weren't the only person who was kind of stuck in line.
Everybody.
Right. This was like a line at Great America, man, just wrapped around the park.
Yeah, and I meant to download it too when I was at work, and I got to figure out how, but I couldn't. But it wouldn't have mattered because I'd have had to be sitting with the PlayStation to go through the steps to actually get it going. So, I mean, it is what it is. Finally got it going. That was good. And then I actually went back and was playing Watch Dogs, and man, I'm loving it. Okay,
so before we get to Watch Dogs, because I really want to hear why you're loving it all of a sudden again. With the beta for Destiny, I heard that in the future when they drop the game, they're going to do a preload, or preloading will be available. Is that something you've heard about?
In the UK, I know for sure they're doing. Out here too, you can download it early. If you reserved it, you get to download it almost 5 days ahead of the release date. So essentially, once midnight hits, I think in New York City and state or whatever on the East Coast, then you should have access to your game.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask a dumb question. Is that just for digital copies only?
Yep.
Okay, so even if I pre-ordered it or whatever, and I plan on getting a hard copy, I can't. It won't be preloaded onto my system.
No, I think the way that's going to work is the servers are going to be activated and waiting. I think on the hard copies, because that'd be dangerous to wait for them to wait till midnight to flip a switch for everybody else to hopefully jump on and play. That'd be stupid.
Okay, and so you said you went back to playing Watch Dogs, man. What got you back into it? Because I think last show, maybe the show before, we were talking about Watch Dogs not having a lot of replay value to it. So,
other people saying it ain't have a lot of replay value.
Okay, so what are you saying as far as replay value? Have you beat the game yet?
No, I specifically made a purpose to finish Act 1 because when I was playing it, I was doing, busting up gang hideouts. I was doing convoy shutdowns, finding the little essentially where you can kind of tag yourself in different locations throughout the city. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm playing this game, but I'm not playing the game.
So you were doing a lot of side missions.
They're not even side missions. They were, well, some of them is, but it's just, you haven't got a chance to play it yet, have you?
No, I haven't. But just hearing you talking kind of reminds me of The Godfather, where it's not really a part of the story, but as you're going through The Godfather city, you could get into scuffles and fights and help people and things like that.
Yep.
Just interacting with the city. So that adds a lot of value to the game. That's not really a replay. It just kind of adds content to it.
So, and when I was playing the game, one thing I figured out, I read on the internet, somebody was complaining about when you pull the aim on the controls, it doesn't do a soft lock on the guys you were shooting at.
Okay.
If you turn your auto aim up to max, it'll do a soft lock.
Auto aim up to max. Okay.
Which actually made a difference too, especially if you wanted to feel like when you're in a gunfight and you surrounded by 6 guys, man. If you don't do it like that, you got a high chance of getting shot up real good. So once I did that, my player felt a lot more powerful. I felt like I could get back and compete with, essentially the quote unquote bad guys of the game. And
gotcha.
Man, it was just getting back in it, getting back used to the driving, just the idea of having that sandbox on the PS4. Kind of, it made me stop and think for a second. Like, do I really want to go back to GTA 5 when it releases on the current gen consoles?
You know what? Right now, my answer to that is no.
Right, and that's how I felt too.
Yeah, my answer to that, and as much as I play it, as much as you guys have heard me harp about it, the actual gameplay itself, and them adding content, to me. I'm kind of ready for a new experience, man. I'm hoping that Saints Row comes out with something soon, or like you said, you got other games that are gonna fill that time slot for me now, man. I want to back up and tell you, I did play the Last of Us DLC, and it was called Left Behind, and this focused on Ellie and her relationship with her best friend, which, oh my God, for the life of me, I can't think of her name right now, the little black girl. Anyway,
and that was more campaign, right?
That was all campaign.
Okay.
That was all campaign. It was nothing online. All campaign. I sat down, finally had a little time to myself, and the kids were away, so I could really focus on it. That's why I had been putting it off.
Yeah.
Because when I played Last of Us the first time, and I really got into the environment, into the world, I felt my emotions were attached to it, and I wanted that experience again. But sadly enough, I don't think I could really get it this time. A little bit. It was a little nostalgic. You think that was because you stopped playing the campaign for a while, and then now you just kind of had that momentum, and if you'd went and played that with the momentum of what you were doing with the campaign, you could just jump right back into it. I'm gonna tell you the problem. The problem was for me is that the DLC, while it is a DLC in nature, it truly was not a DLC to me. To me, this was a chapter that they had in the original game. It seemed like to me that they pulled out because it would have kind of taken away from Joel and Ellie's relationship. So, and I feel like all they did was stick this back in and say, hey, originally we had this in, we went through and edited it and kind of took this out. But here you go.
Could it have been broken down as like flashbacks or something?
That's all it was, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was basically what happened during this time period that in the regular game kind of explains, how Ellie got bit and all that stuff. So
spoilers.
No, I'm not gonna tell you. Everybody knows the game, but
no, I didn't. I don't. That's all.
Shame on you for not having played The Last of Us.
I'm waiting for the true next gen experience. I'm waiting on the PS4.
Oh, okay. Well, I haven't told you nothing that's major anyway.
Because
but it does.
They don't tell you that when you first meet her. So.
Yeah, no, they don't tell you how, but they do tell you that she did get bit. So, it's real good. It was pretty good. It was good to get back into it. But it was short, real short, and I was, and that is what it is.
Like an hour short, 2 hours short.
Yeah, it was. If I stopped and played it from beginning to end, I bet I could have finished it in an hour.
And to me, that's good. I like that. I don't, don't feed me this long, extended, unnecessary side story.
I guess so. Yeah, if you treat it as a side story, yeah, right. And I think what it is with the Last of Us, it was such a good game that people wanted more. People wanted more DLC than what they were willing to release. In fact, I'm not even sure if they're going to release anything else going forward. Even with the remastered version coming out later this year, I would tell people don't get your hopes up on Naughty Dog adding any more content to this game. If they do anything, it'll be another Last of Us, or they may just come out with a completely new game. So,
cool. Just real quick note on Watch Dogs. I encourage you to buy it. It's a buy, man.
It's a buy. Last week we were talking about whether it was a buy or not. No, man.
You was talking about what other people were telling you.
Okay.
It's for one, like the game feels like it has a good length to it, and then there's it reminds me of and of course because it's made by the same people, but it reminds me a lot of Assassin's Creed, where with Assassin's Creed you can kind of find the different high points in the city, and it opens up the map. They kind of do the same thing where you find these transmitters.
Gotcha.
And each transmitter opens up a different part of the city where you can do all these side missions. And what I haven't seen a lot of people talk about on the game is just like the mini games that you can play. There's like games inside of the game.
They got games on games on games,
which is cool though, because they call them digital trips.
Okay.
And it's
I've heard about that. Yeah. Okay.
And the one I was playing, which I thought was really cool, was called Alone. And basically what happened is you're the last person on Earth, and you're trying to bring back the sunshine, the sunlight to the city. And you have to find these different module boxes around the city, but there's these robots, and they shine radiation on you if they spot you.
Okay.
And essentially you're just, little by little, you open the map back up for every module you find, and you build yourself up. And then they got a thing called Cash Run, which is like Super Mario Brothers but in 3D, where you're basically chasing these coins, and the more coins you get, it's just stuff like that.
Yeah, I heard you mentioning that, right? Yeah.
People, a lot of people ain't. You got to try the different things. You can't just run through the story and say that's it. Oh, I'm done. I don't want to do nothing else. It's so repetitive. It's like,
let me ask you about that. Do you feel like those side missions like that pull you out of the story, or just
I don't because if it was a different game, maybe. With this game, I don't feel that way. I feel like I think Watch Dogs did a better job with all of the side quests. Get this, grab that, than GTA 5 did. It was in GTA 5. It was like you can go play tennis, go play golf. I'm like, to me, I'm feeling like, man, I don't want to go play tennis or play golf. If I did, I would buy a tennis game or a golf game.
But you gotta admit that's pretty cool to have in a game.
It is.
If you like to play tennis, it is nice and play golf.
And a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's like it felt like a full golf game or whatever." But Watch Dogs, they just had small things you could do, man. You could go play chess, but everything you did actually went to building your character up. So if you won so many chess matches, you would get a certain gun or a certain perk. So it wasn't like you was just doing it for nothing.
Okay.
Just try it out. Watch Dogs, real good. I still love it. And then it's kind of like what we said. I'm not sitting on one game. I'm able to play different games. That way I'm not getting too bored with this stuff.
And that's the key, man. As long as you can go back to it and play it, that's cool.
Yeah. So you want to jump into some news? Talk about
let's take a break and then let's take a break, come back and jump into some news.
Cool. We'll be right back. Power Pellet Podcast, we back. News and rumors. Kind of doing just a little bit of catch up with things we heard from the last week or so.
Right.
You go ahead, kick it off. You got anything right away?
Yeah, man, I'm just laughing, man. If you guys can hear us doing the break, dog, we got to do it behind the scene one day because it's just be funny, man. Yeah,
if we do a video podcast, we do it live on YouTube.
Right.
Then
that would be so fun. Yeah, I'd be making faces and everything. So I'm not going to get into too many details, but as far as news, Xbox One owners, you have an update. So go out there and get it if you haven't gotten it. Same for you, Wii.
It's not out yet.
Wait, what?
Nah.
Oh, you have an update?
It's in August.
You have an update coming.
I got the quick rundown.
Prepare yourself. Oh, you got some news?
Yeah,
Let me know what's going on.
I'm just going to read off the big tabs on it. Okay. Activity feed updates, new friends area on dashboard, mobile purchases. Look like you'll actually be able to get some in-game content on the go or through the smart glass. A low battery notification. If the battery on your controller is getting low, the console will display a notification. That's weird that it doesn't do that. My PS4 does that.
How does it notify you, though?
It actually post a message on the screen. Similar to the PS4. You get just like a little notification on the screen. Battery low. You short, homie.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Disable notifications while watching video. Here's a big one that I thought was already implemented. 3D Blu-ray support. That's for me. I like that good stuff. What's up?
Let's go back to that one you just mentioned, disable notifications. PlayStation 3 has that now.
So does Xbox 360.
Yeah, it is one of the most annoying things in the world to be sitting here watching a movie or show and then it shows up, Sunny Delight 27 has popped on. Sunny Delight 27 has logged off.
And you know what? I left it on my PS4, and I don't know. I was like, whatever. I don't even care anymore. I was like, One Guide Market expansion, which that's I don't get that one, but I don't have an Xbox One either, so I can't say. And then last seen time in friends list. It says in another new feature called from feedback. The friends list will now show how long it's been since a friend has been online. Oh, okay. And what they were doing at the time. Yeah. All right. So basically, we'll be seeing this with the PS. Yeah. But it's the same with the PS4, right? It's the smaller things that they left out just to get the console out in the market, and they fleshing it back in. That's your update coming up for the Xbox One on August next month, 2014.
Yeah, and then the Wii U, you guys also have an update either coming out or came out already.
What in the world could they be updating on the Wii U that has to feel important?
What I read was you're able to transfer information in between systems a little bit better.
Oh, okay. You can. All right. So maybe, yeah, but what okay. If you could do it through USB,
right?
If they allow it through USB, then that would make sense. So what if it was locked to one console and you want to transfer to another console? Or if you back your saves up on the USB and it's not locked to that console, you could put it on the other. I could see that. But if it's anything else where it's like, oh, this console is busted, so I want to transfer my data, how you going to transfer your console busted? So I don't know. That that doesn't seem like a big deal to me. But, because Nintendo, they about 10 years behind anyway on their technology.
Just tell what the it also allows you to shop without the gamepad. That should have been, anyway.
With the gamepad or without?
Without the gamepad. I shouldn't diss Nintendo. Let me quit dissing Nintendo like that. I mean, they are a gaming system as well. So I'm sorry, Nintendo players. I love you.
It just sucked when a company been around so long and they just can't play catch up for nothing.
Right. So. Yeah, they just been a little bit disappointing, man. So some other news. The Sims 2 has lost technical support yesterday.
So what does that mean?
That means the end of the world for online gamers. Seriously, that's what that means, man.
What's the latest version of The Sims out right now?
I have no idea.
All right, now I'm sorry. Instead of asking you, I should have asked Google. That's what
you really should have asked Google. But hold on, here I'll hit you with it. Let me do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's a lot of stuff. So essentially, after the first Sims drop, they dropped 18 DLCs.
Oh, and I see what you're saying. So but it's just technical support though, right? It's just the ability to, I have this bug in this game. What are you going to do about it, right? It's not, they didn't shut down the servers though, right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but we on Sims 4 now. So if you still playing Sims 2 and you complaining that a server from...
Listen.
We're not gonna have that conversation. We're not gonna have that conversation, right? Everybody, people are afraid of change. Just
change.
Yeah,
you're afraid of change.
Now I get it if it's a feature in Sims 2 that's not in 3 or 4 that keeps you tied down to it. Then yeah, I get that. But at some point, let it go.
Yeah, and you
gotta go.
I gotta applaud EA, man. When you have a bunch of sports games and a bunch of titles with a lot of server support, this stuff eventually has to go away, And so, good, but they gave a nod to gamers. They gave you the Ultimate Collection for free.
I just saw that, yeah. So,
you can still, yeah.
When did we stop complaining about something we ain't paying for?
Right, they held your hand. They made an announcement. They let you know. So, again, the Ultimate Collection mentions the 18 or 19 or whatever number of DLC that they've dropped for you guys. So you have plenty to do at home alone by yourself with a neighbor if you got a LAN connection. So there you go. What else? As far as news, yes, this is huge.
I think I know what you're finna say.
Battlefield Hardline. Battlefield Hardline has been delayed to 2015.
Now,
Jay, talk to me.
Now, in the pre-show, I stressed my strict opinion about this.
Okay.
And it was one sentence.
Right.
I can't even remember my exact words.
I'm gonna tell you what you said.
Yeah.
They need to just get rid of it.
They need to just cancel it. Can't cancel it as its own game and just do what everybody thought you was doing in the first place and just release it as a $30 download and just offer that support. Let it be a part of that universe for Battlefield 3 and let it or Battlefield 4 and let it carry you on.
Listen, I agree with you. I agreed with you until I heard this news come out. And then I felt like, okay, a couple things are going on here. And they mentioned it in the article. And even in the letter, the open letter to the public, the CEO or whatever, he mentions that as well. They got a lot of positive, negative feedback from their beta, which is what betas are for. They also got a lot of feedback from, of course, Battlefield 4. It's a ton of problems. They also caught a lot of slack over Battlefield 4 not being ready when it got released, and they even said, hey, we learned from our mistakes, we're not going to do this again. But let me take a step back. The biggest thing I think that why they're pushing this back is because of you, because of the gamers, because of the users, because we actually had a chance to voice our opinion about this game. And some of the stuff that we touched on before, like, hey, this ain't nothing more than a DLC. You got to give me more if you're going to charge me $60 for this. It's too much like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. It's not standing out enough. I'm not paying money for this. And couple things. Feedback from your community, fear that this game is going to flop coming out the door, and then you want to make sure that you don't have the problems you had before with your last launch. So that's why I think they're pushing this game back.
Let me ask your opinion on this, because now that I'm thinking about it, right, and I played the beta, and I looked at the couple things kind of stood out to me. I looked at the graphics, and nothing about the graphics screamed next gen, current, gen, current gen, PS4, Xbox One. Compared
to what? Does it look
Battlefield
like
4?
Okay, so were they the same or was it less than Battlefield?
To me, it was the same, right? Now, what also kind of stood out to me was, then I thought about it, and then I'm like, well, they released it as a beta, but there was it's supposed to come out this fall.
Right.
Right. So now are you trying to just throw shade on Battlefield 4 so people kind of ignoring or straying away from that? So they like, look, I'm over Battlefield 4. It's been like this. It's been like that. Like, was this game meant to be online only? Was Battlefield Hardline meant to be online only? Only with the idea that to stop getting people to play Battlefield 4?
No, I don't think so. Battlefield 4 has been out over a year, so I don't think.
But it's not fixed yet, right? Is it fixed?
No, a lot of people said that it's. Well, let's talk about fixed. What does that mean? You still get some lag, and you're going to have that in any online first-person shooter. But people say the gameplay is improved, and they enjoy it. And you got some people who will never be satisfied because it was broke out the box. So their expectations of this game is going to always be that it's broken, no matter what. You can't worry about them people. But I don't think you fix this by making a completely new game and saying, hey, we're going to release this game and so everybody will forget the last one. I don't think so. I don't think you put that much development time and money into a game just to erase the bad memory of another game. In fact, that's almost assuming like they didn't come up with Battlefield Hardline until Battlefield 4 flopped. And we know that games are developed. It takes a lot more for a game to be developed before it even hits beta. So now, we're talking years in production.
Did they give any announcement as far as information? How many maps? How many different play variants?
No.
Right. It was just kind of like, oh, look, shiny new game over here. Don't look the other way. Look this way. Play this.
I don't think you really give too much of that data until you come out of the beta and you're a little bit more closer to it, right? Unless you're an established game like, say, Call of Duty or,
Battlefield.
Well,
I mean, it was kind of smoke and mirrors. It felt smoke and mirrors a little bit.
Here's what I was thinking today. As I read this article. He touched on three things. He touched on being more innovative in multiplayer, check. A deeper story in the single player, check. And stability, huge check. But here's what I would have loved for them to say. And maybe they'll do this later by pushing it back. They need to drop Battlefield from the title.
And just call it Hardline?
Call it Hardline or call it something else completely.
Or just make it a DLC.
If you're gonna go back and add more content, it's no longer a DLC. Yes, it was a DLC before, but if you're gonna go back, call it Cops and Robbers Hardline or Hardline Cops or something.
So what if they said
drop the Battlefield from the title? Make this a standalone game.
What if they just said Battlefield Cops and Robbers is online only, $30?
Pricing is not my concern. Gameplay is my concern. Am I doing something different than what I'm doing in Battlefield 4? That's my concern.
I mean, yeah, it was different enough. I appreciated the idea, right? We all thirsted for a Cops and Robbers type of deal.
Still do.
Yeah.
Waiting on Grand Theft Auto to get that right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. It's something I can't get over it. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna figure it out and solve that puzzle one day, but I cannot get into Battlefield. I can't. Every time I hear somebody talk about it, I feel like I'm just like counting sheep. I can't get into it. And I think what bothers me so much about it is sometimes I want to get into it, right? I want to see what everybody is enjoying about that game because I can't find it. So when I see something like this, I don't know. I feel let down.
Can I tell you what you're missing?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now what you're missing, and because I've heard this from other friends that I play with who are big on Call of Duty and swear by it, but then when they switch over to Battlefield or other first-person shooters, they have a hard time getting into it. It's not one of those games where it's up in your face. It's not one of those games where it's a lot of color to it. You ever play a Call of Duty game and it has like every color in the spectrum?
Like the palette is very
the
neutral.
palette is right. The palette is very dark, gray, military, brownish, greenish.
It's more. It's not realistic. It's just. It's weird. No, it's like a lot of beige and brown.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of beige.
But even when like you see cityscapes and stuff like that.
Right.
Do they real quick? Like, do they have any like snow levels, jungle levels, Amazons? It's stuck inside like a giant building. There is no outside. You're just in this building. Do they have any like multiplayer maps like that?
It varies. It varies tremendously, especially in Battlefield 3. They added snow levels, mountains, all flight levels. Man.
Was that after the fact though? That was like additional DLC you had to go by?
That was DLC that came out later. But before, again, the tone of the game, you hit it on the head. It's very bland compared to some of the other first person shooters, especially like Call of Duty, which is most staunch competition. But here's the other thing too that I wanted to hit on. Battlefield 3 and 4 is really about getting with a group of friends and playing together.
That team aspect.
The team aspect of it. It's not about being Rambo. In fact, you get penalized for being Rambo, but if you play as a team, you'll have a better experience. So it's the social aspect of the game that makes this game so much fun. Even like for when I used to play SOCOM, I could get on SOCOM and go 0-9, 0-7, but did not care because I was talking to my friends online. Yeah. And that was amazing enough for me.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think. If you're not on there with a headset on, communicating with your teammates, you're not going to get the full experience of the game because it's not Call of Duty. That's my opinion. That's what I think you're lacking.
So, last couple points. What are you what are you hoping for 2015 with the change of the release date?
Well, I'm not gonna hold my breath on this, but I would love for them to drop Battlefield out of the title. I would love for them to make it look a little bit different than Battlefield. That's my whole thing.
A change in just the presentation style and everything.
Yes. Make this game stand out by itself.
It did make a lot of people want. What was the other Battlefield game that they had? Bad Company.
Bad Company.
A lot of people. What if they did that? Like Battlefield, Bad Company, Hardlines, or leave the Battlefield alone. You don't even want a new Battlefield. You don't side need it game. Right now. That's not what you want. That's what you're saying. Okay.
I don't think it's time. I think you can sit here and milk Battlefield for almost another year with the DLC that you drop. Gosh, and it seems like they're dropping it so fast that it doesn't even.
It don't make sense, right? It's smoke and mirrors.
DLC used to be something that you look forward to, something that would get announced 6 months ahead of time and be like, oh, I can't wait till this DLC come out. Yeah. Now they just throw it out just to be throwing it out.
Money grab.
So that's what some of the things I like to see. Just get away from Battlefield completely. Make this a standalone game by itself. Don't feel like you have to hide under the Battlefield title. Step out. Be brave. Call it Cops and Robbers. Call it whatever. But let's just step away from Battlefield.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Can I borrow your PS3 copy of The Last of Us?
You cannot, because I can get 50% off my remastered version if I trade it in at GameStop. That was announced today. So.
I maybe borrow was the wrong word. I was going to ask if I could hold it with no intentions of but that's tight, right?
You can hold the case.
You can go ahead and get you a fresh copy of that's encouragement for PS4 owners, especially somebody like you, right? You was trying to figure out what you was going to do. Am I going to go back? Am I going to get the game? What am I going to do? I think that's tight.
I think it's real tight, but it felt weird coming from GameStop and not from Sony.
Is it? Oh, so it's not a Sony thing. It's not.
No.
But is it something that Sony is doing with GameStop?
And that's what I don't know, and I didn't get that deep into it. But I read it as being offered by GameStop, and maybe that's their relationship.
But they got good power trades though, right? So the game's $50, so that means that for Last of Us you getting $25. So what if it was a 50% power trade? How much would you normally get for Last of Us right now anyway? Would you only get $18?
Yeah, you might get something like that.
Right. So it's a power trade, and by the time it adds up, it's $25 off the new Last of Us, 50%. It just sounds good. It's good advertising. It's GameStop saying we still here to play, baby.
How long are you going to run that promotion? I think it's great because, like, for me, he said a week.
Seriously, right?
Longer than that, a month.
Maybe. It depends, right? It depends on how if people bringing the games in, then at that point you go, yeah, we're running a new week. I think they play the big things they do month to month, maybe. And the little things they change every week. So we'll see how this one holds up.
I play with a lot of people now on the 3 who are looking forward to playing this on the 4. They're looking forward to having, as far as online, having to start over and grind again. And so
on the online?
Yeah, you have to start over. Ain't no transferring over. And I love that. It's going to eliminate a lot of the cheaters that are kind of crept into this game.
I saw something like a one-time transfer. That might have been a different game. Okay.
That had to be a different game. But on this one, you can't carry your rank over. So a couple other things that would announce, and we can move forward. Xbox, of course, they shut down their entertainment. Xbox Entertainment shut down, and everybody know about this pretty much.
That's crazy, right?
18,000 people lost their job. But, I heard something interesting about this. Microsoft is losing money.
Companies always lose money, though.
Yeah, but we're talking about Microsoft.
Is it Microsoft losing money or Xbox losing money?
Microsoft.
but that's how they function, right? They don't, that's more for like stockholders and stuff like that. It depends on the division and what product was dropped and what's coming in the future and da 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 da. Like all of that goes round about that.
But this is why they're losing money. They're losing money because of their tablets. They got to the tablet game late.
Surface. They did well. I ain't gonna go off topic, but the way that they did the tablets, it just
you can game on tablets, so you're not off topic.
Yeah, but you had a because it's not about video games, so I really don't want to talk about it. But you got Windows 8, right? But then you had like 3 versions of Windows 8, and like only 1 or 2 of them was compatible. That was the problem,
right?
So when people get a tablet, then they download, that app. Oh, guess what? That app don't run over there. And you're like, wait, what? And then it's like, oh, well, this don't run, that don't run. You can't go back and forth. Da 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 da.
I have a Windows phone, and that's the biggest complaint me and my wife have is, oh, you can't get that app on here. But there's a knockoff version of that. I don't want the knockoff version of that.
Yeah, there's no support, and you expect more from Microsoft. So
yeah. And with it being Microsoft, I expect you to be able to run everything that's out there. And when you can't do that for whatever reason or exclusive rights or whatever, it's a huge disappointment. So they lost some money. They're making some changes, of course. And big companies like this, they have shakeups like this all the time. But it was just interesting that it was Microsoft and that Xbox was the one that suffered for it. So
yeah, a lot of the big things held. The Halo TV show, the Halo game. Mm-hmm. There is no more Microsoft Game Studios, no more. That was pretty messed up. But they weren't. What big games you could be like, man, that they did this, and this recently, right? It's part of the business. It sucks people lose his jobs because I'd be really, really messed up if I lost my job, and I'm sure anybody else would too. So look, shout out to the 18,000 that lost their jobs. I hope y'all able to find something in the future if you haven't found something already. Yeah,
I agree. I hope you guys do fall on your feet. Hey, quick question. I got a fanboy question. Who's better, Xbox Entertainment or Sony's in-house gamers that made like Resistance? Because Xbox before Bungie, weren't they making Halo? How does that work? Was there a relationship there?
You got to be specific, right? So you have to think of what games are considered first party, and then what games are considered second party. Second party is like Sony has this studio and they're just going to publish the game, but it's that studio's responsibility to get that game up and running. That's considered second party.
All right, so that's a fanboy question. I'll let y'all argue it out there on the forums, but I was just interested just to see who you thought was better, who dropped the best IP. So
I think Microsoft though.
You think Microsoft?
Back a while ago, you got Gears, Halo, Crackdown. Just
Halo,
to name a 3, just to name a couple. If you just consider like exclusives, in that sense, yeah. But PlayStation has some really great games: Ratchet and Clank,
Uncharted,
God of War. It's some heavy hitters. So
Resistance was a good game.
Resistance, yep.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
No, that's just a fanboy question. That's all I got right now for news, man.
What about the Madden NFL?
The
ratings, the player ratings. They released that for the games.
They did, but we're not going to talk about it. In fact,
okay,
next week, next week,
we get a little closer to summer camp and all that stuff.
Yeah. So,
all right,
let's hit the break, baby. Hit it.
Topic of the week. Back, Our Pellet Podcast. We're getting ready to get into this topic of the week, and I know everybody who possibly get their hands on the game, the beta for Destiny. Couldn't even get it out my mouth.
Beta? How you can't get beta out your mouth, baby? We all about beta.
The Destiny beta. I'm gonna let you start because I know you got some things you want to get off your chest. I played the alpha, started. I love the way that they kicked the beta off where they say, look, this could possibly be the intro to the game, and I was like, oh my god, can I play more? You get the first introduction to the storyline. Come on.
All right. So I'm just kind of walk you through the beta. I touched on it a little bit in the what's in my system. But let me just, God, where do I start?
What's your first impression? Give your first impression on it.
I wasn't impressed until I got to the tower. So the people who have played the beta know that in the beginning of the game, walk you through some of the basic stuff. Teaching you how to walk, jump, shoot.
You didn't like none of the intro? You didn't like the guys landing on Mars and then the ghost finding you, waking you up, telling you to run?
It was okay.
Your first interaction with the enemies?
It was okay.
Who did you create? Did you go Titan, Hunter, Warlock?
I went Awoken, and I made a female Hunter.
Okay. I went Warlock.
Okay, so my son was telling me Warlock was a pretty cool character. So
yeah, I'm like, all right, let me play something different. I did choose a female character.
Okay,
usually I don't do that, but
right. Let's talk about the choices then. So in the beginning of the game, you get to pick your character, you design your character, and so you could be male or female, of course, or you could be one of three classes: Warlock, Hunter, and the other one was a magician.
No, you had Titan. Which is very strong, heavy on defense.
Okay.
Kind of like a brute. I mean, the name itself, Titan, just sounds very, very built tough. You had a Hunter, and then you had a Warlock, which is a mage. In the game, I'm waiting to see I'm waiting for the mage part to kick in. That'd be more interesting once you get the real game. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you the first thing about this game that was cool to me. I said the tower was cool, and I can explain the tower to you in a second. The design of your avatar was amazing to me. That was just so much fun to be able to pick. And you do this in a lot of games, but this was fun. The choices, the options was simple, clean.
Yep.
I posted, actually, if you go to the Power Pellet podcast group page or the regular page, Facebook page, you can see I posted like 4 or 5 different samples before I decided on what my avatar was going to look like. So that was pretty hot. So anyway, you go through that.
Just like you couldn't rotate your character, like for the haircuts.
Right. Yeah, and haircuts, hopefully they'll have some more options for the hair design. But once you get to the tower, so the tower is the last city on Earth. Is that right? Did I say that right?
I didn't get deep into the details of the story.
What?
I played the game for like 30, 45 minutes because I told you.
But you've been to the tower though, right? You've been to the tower?
Yeah, been to the tower.
Well, you should know what the tower is. So the tower is like the last city on Earth. That's what
Earth.
And Earth. Yeah, and the tower was pretty cool. What was so cool about it to me is you had all of these users running around this nice sized city. It wasn't lagging. You could see everybody, different character designs, so I thought that was cool. And it was essentially all it is a hub where you go and you pick up job assignments and things like that, and you do your buying and your selling. And so I thought that was really cool. I don't know why that blew me away. What did you think about that part?
Honestly, I have to. With me coming from a game in this style, coming from Borderlands, I think what Destiny did was Borderlands. You can kind of do everything you need to do, but you can only go to this shop and get this gun in this part of the world,
right?
And I can see the direction that Destiny did was, well, how about you just go to one main location, everybody load up, group up, okay, you ready to go? All right, we got our gear and we gone. And I appreciated that. It felt real centralized, right?
It did. But even with Borderlands, you're making your team connection before you even go into the game.
Yeah. It did.
And this one is the reverse.
Borderlands was, yeah.
Right.
And I get what you're saying. Borderlands was kind of like, I'll get you and a couple buddies. Look, y'all go run and y'all could be whatever type y'all got. Destiny is about the idea that you're not the only guardian out there.
Right.
Which was hot. It opens the story a little bit as far as just what they want to do with it, as opposed to Borderlands is just more, the story's more streamlined because it's always just these four characters, these four main characters in the story. So that's the big separation between the two. And my fear is 3 people in a pack enough as opposed to 4 or possibly 5.
Well, but it could be not just 4 or 5. It could be almost unlimited, can it? Because
there's a limitation, but I mean, if I'm talking like if me and you get online and then Trigger Rick jumps online, what if we wanted a 4th person, right? They essentially would have to start their own and then hope that we're on the same servers if we were to go run. But all right, I think I just answered my own question though, because that's only it's a max of 3 only if you're doing story mode and a strike, right?
So, okay, so see, you hit on something that I wasn't aware of, because I didn't know there was only a max of 3 in a party.
Right, because once you initiate that you guys are going to start that mission, that co-op mode, that mission, then yes, 3 in a party, that's the limit. Now you will see other characters on the server, on the map, possibly doing their own missions, and you can run in, help them. They can run and help you, and then you go your separate ways.
And that's where I felt like, okay, this is almost unlimited, because, okay, yeah, even if you have your party and you guys are both in Russia and there's another party in Russia, you can go and participate in whatever it is they're doing.
Right, and then you can make friends, you can make alliances with these characters. You don't have to necessarily join a clan with them. But then once you split, that's it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: what is the max you can have on the planet now?
Like how many people in a server on that one map can you run into?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious
about. I haven't heard anything. I've listened to a couple of shows where the community manager for the game was on and he was talking, but I honestly don't remember hearing him saying anything as far as that goes. But then my thing is kind of like, does it make a difference? Because you're not going to run into each other that often. I think once you actually go into certain buildings and hit certain corners, you kind of lose that connection in the story mode or in a strike, between other characters that you don't know, that you might randomly meet. You're not going to cross paths in the hallway and then be like, oh man, all right, help me out. It's like, no, it's more in the open field aspect where you'll run into each other.
And so, and I saw that kind of happen. I saw where you would go to where you're about to fight a boss or something like that, and then the ability to respawn goes away, and then your life is your life. So if you die, I haven't died yet, so I don't know what happens to you.
You die.
You die. Thanks, Drago. But I thought that was a pretty cool aspect of, okay, hey, listen, your life is worth something now. You're just not going to keep respawning until you beat this boss.
Did you get to play the Crucible?
Cool. I did. I finally got into the Crucible.
Now we can go in as a party of 6 and run that.
But that's just basically team play on any game. So any multiplayer.
Yeah. What they call player versus player.
Player versus player. But let's put the Crucible on hold, and let's just talk about some of the elements of and the technical aspect of this game. So we got into a heated discussion. Me, you, Trigger Rick. We got a heated text discussion, and the fact that our phones were smoking because y'all was disagreeing with me, and I know I can be stubborn sometimes because I have a high demand for video games. So I was mad because I felt like this was a good combination of Borderlands and Halo thrown in the same pot. And I was mad because that's more the Crucible part. But I was mad because I felt like they took the good aspects of Borderlands. They took away all the silliness that came with Borderlands, which was good for Borderlands at that time. But they took all the good parts of it. And that's what this is.
I think most people by now, 80% by now that I've heard the game, know about the game, understand that that's what it is now. I think they've got a healthy dose of a general idea of what they're getting into. And a lot of people who going to play the game after the beta, I feel like they won't have a problem with that aspect. And they're going to have small parts that they don't like, but as a whole, they won't have a problem with it.
Okay, so before I got to the Crucible, which is the multiplayer, the player versus player aspect of the game, I was loving it. I was like, this is a day one purchase. This is so cool. Some of the things that I didn't like about Borderlands as far as it being silly, not really being able to understand the story. I didn't care too much for the design, the cartoon book design of the game. I felt like they took the good gaming aspects of Borderlands and they made it an adult version of it, and I loved it. I love Destiny. I loved it, and then
I got to defend Borderlands a little bit.
Okay, go to defend Borderlands.
I got to defend Borderlands.
All right,
that's what Borderlands was.
I know, and that's what I'm saying.
No, like how you see Destiny now, a more serious tone, more toned down.
So the first one was like this one.
No, like Borderlands before it ever released, when they were 1 year into development.
Gotcha.
And it just, as far as how they do not like testing, but like how you just they basically poll the office, everybody working on it. You show outside people, you show this, you show that, and the game was getting a little bit of draw. People were feeling the direction that they were trying to take the game, but it just wasn't hooking right. It was like something ain't right. And when they completely 180'd that art direction in Borderlands, that's when it clicked. Right, everything gelled for what that game was about.
And do you feel like because there was nothing on the market like it?
Nothing.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Nothing. And when Borderlands 2 hit, it just blew everything. Everything was just blown out of proportion. Like it was Tiny Tina. Who don't love Tiny Tina from Borderlands 2? But that's what that's what you go in knowing. I'm going to see a circus and it's gonna be clowns there, right? You're not going to see a drama.
So you know what you're getting into.
Yeah. You get that with Borderlands, and I think with Destiny's like, here's a more toned down, more sci-fi-ish, semi-realistic version of that.
And that's exactly what it is. And let's talk about Borderlands versus Destiny. One of the problems I had with Borderlands was when I ran with you, you were say a level 50, and I just started as a level 2, so my gun sucked, my shield sucked. I felt like I was out here running maps with you, running levels with you, but I wasn't, gaming with you. I was kind of like, you were kind of big brothering, and I was little brother, and I wasn't able to participate really as opposed to kind of watching and being revived because I wasn't strong enough. Now, in Destiny, I didn't feel like that. When I ran into some guys that were bigger than me, me being a 2 and they were a 5 or a 7, and I was helping somebody who was a 5 or a 7, I felt like I belonged.
What kind of enemies were they fighting?
It didn't matter. I'm just talking about the enemies, period. The rank of that enemy as a 2, I felt like I could compete with them.
You have a chance, right? We don't know what that...
Yeah.
All right, in Borderlands, you have rank 1 through 50, right? We don't know what the rank on this is, right? So let's say, for instance, this rank is 1 through 100. So that space between you, a level 2, to a level 8, doesn't seem that far off.
Right, exactly, yeah.
What Borderlands did was, okay, you were level 3, and you running with some guys that's a level...
20s.
Right, 20, right? So now you're getting all the experience that they're getting. So for one, you're going to rank up a whole lot faster. You'll catch up.
But I felt like that kind of took away from the grinding aspect of the game as well. It took away from me from some of the gameplay. Right. Because I ranked up so fast.
Right. So now the way it worked was if it was their story, you're playing on their missions with their ranks. If it's your story, it's your missions with your ranks. So it depends on who started it. You just jumped in. Right. The gap was way too big.
Yes, that's exactly it.
But you still had the chance with this game. You could have that same thing happen to you.
Right.
We never got that chance. That's probably why they limited the levels to 8. It's not that big a gap between a 2 and an 8.
Right. Okay, I can see what you're saying. So it does. So we may not know. It may be a bigger gap as the game come out.
As you start to run in with other people. Plus, you and Trigger Rick came to the Borderlands party late. I mean, that's really what that was. And that's, now we got a chance, all three of us, to kind of hopefully dive in together at the same time to stay close. One thing that they did that was really smooth was Trigger Rick went and he did a mission. And in the mission, it was 2 options. This mission usually runs at a level 3. You're a level 8. Do you want it to run at a level 8? He said yes. I thought that was hot, right? So instantly turned that curve up, that difficulty curve up,
right?
To just feel compatible with his skill. That was tight.
That is tight, and I hope that Destiny does Are we talking about Destiny?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I blanked out for a second because I was thinking. No, that's tight. I think that's a great way to fix that problem. That you can increase it so you feel like you're getting a challenge every time.
And you'll always have that problem where if it's you're your level. You just got to. That's the reality of it. Right. That's your level. And that's what you got to play at. Now, if you run into some guys on Destiny where they got a question mark above their head,
and leave them alone.
One hit of quitters, baby. But then I was thinking, right? The only time I saw those characters, only time I saw them on the alpha was in the area where I felt like I was being restricted. I feel like they gave us a lot of the game because you remember when they create alphas and betas, they essentially stop development at that point, and then that's that copy, and then they keep going with the other copy that's supposed to be the final product.
Right.
So it's easier for them to just put a boss at that point that won't mess with you unless you bother it, and it won't let you get past this point because it's just too strong.
And listen, I was watching videos of cats running into these question mark dudes, and they were trying to sneak around and get past that to see what's on the other side of the boss, and they were just getting their hands handed to them every time, just bit, bap, bip, bit, bap, bip. Let me ask you a question. So we're comparing this game to Borderlands for the right reason. Here's another thing I loved about Destiny, which I found frustrating in Borderlands: guns. I felt like there were just way too many guns in Borderlands. Crazy names, crazy abilities, which was fun, but at the same time confusing. I felt like picking up the guns on this and getting the ranks or using the abilities of the guns in Destiny lined up more with some of the traditional first-person shooters. I love the guns.
I felt the opposite.
No. But tell me what you didn't like.
But I felt the opposite, but I had to remind myself it's a beta. I don't know how many guns they have available, right? There are guns with elements on them in this game. I know that. We know that, right?
Yes.
In Borderlands,
I can tell you right now, I have about offhand maybe 10 to 12 guns, and I'm an 8. Yes. Yeah.
On Borderlands, what happened is you would get the same gun, but this gun would shoot slower, or this gun would be strong. But I like that because really what that does is it allows you to play your style, right? What if you don't care that gun shoots slower because you take your time with your shots, so every shot counts. Your fire rate's slow, but the power of that gun is stronger, right?
You know what the problem was? It was overload. It was when you give somebody too many choices.
You do run into that in Borderlands, right? It's a gun everywhere. Everywhere, right? And in Destiny, the first thing I said was, where the loot chest? Where the guns? I can't find any.
It's funny you said that because when I found my first loot chest, I was like, cool. And what did I go do after that? I went running around trying to loot everything in the world.
You looking at every corner, lifting every rock up, opening every door, and there's
that's exactly
nothing.
what I did. And then I was like, okay, this is not
that game.
Right. This is not a looting game. You get what you get. And I liked it. Then I stepped back and I said, okay, now I get to focus actually on the game and doing the mission. I'm not too caught up in trying to make sure that I have checked every corner, every nook and cranny. And that's part of grinding. But I felt like sometimes in Borderlands, it weighed you down, it slowed the story down, especially if you're playing with somebody who's already been through that level, and all they want to do is get through the level. They just want to finish the mission.
That's why I would tell you sometimes. You're like, man, I got to check this. You're like, your eyes is wide open. I got to check that. I said, don't worry, baby. You would get it. Look, you would get it. And it does. If you don't jump in the board, like a big thing about Borderlands is you almost got to start it by yourself. You got to play like the first. You got to get to level 5 by yourself to just kind of soak in what it's about. And then when you actually have that experience of 1, 2, or 3 of your buddies jumping in and y'all just like dominating these maps, then you're like, man, what you get? Y'all can share bullets. You could share guns. You could clone guns on Borderlands. I got this gun. You want it, baby? Yep. Here you go. Boom. That's your gun. Right. So, it's hard because that's the last game you've played, first person shooter, 4-player, 3-player co-op, and now that's the last thing you're gonna compare Destiny to when you play it.
No, that's not why I'm comparing it though. I'm comparing it because like we said, we touched on a lot of similarities. So that's why I'm comparing it. But
like, there's no other games that let you do that, though. That's what I meant.
Well, there's no other games that let you do it the way these two games do it, and applause to them. And I want to give them the accolades for that. But again, we're talking about the beta, what we've seen, and we need something to bounce it off of. So I'm bouncing it off of Borderlands. Yeah. So let me continue to bounce some things off of it. I don't like being given a gun that I cannot use right away. I got that a lot in Borderlands where I'm a 13, but I've found a 15 or found a 17, and I got to wait to use this gun I'm ranking up to. And now, there's a little bit of that.
You can buy, you can see what you
in
can
Destiny.
buy.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in Destiny, but not too much. Because in Borderlands, I had to stop and make a decision. What do I keep in my backpack? What do I sell? You know, I got 30 sniper rifles. What do I keep in my vault? What do I sell?
That was the thing too. Yeah,
man.
I got 4 sniper rifles. And they all different elements.
Too many decisions. Too many. I can't think. I just want to shoot something.
So that could have been solved when they could have just been like, you know, add-ons to the guns. And if you sell a gun, you keep your add-ons. You don't have to worry about taking the add-on off of that gun before you sell it. That could have been a simple solution. Destiny.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the things you saw in Destiny that I griped to you about. So one of the gripes I had about this game was that it's made by Bungie, so I expect there to be some nods to Halo. But my goodness, they did more than nod to Halo. They invited Halo in and set them a plate.
I think. What if that was Activision though, right? Because we got to remember that's why Bungie left, right? Bungie left to make their own game. Activision was the ones who had the right bid on it. Activision said, look, come on over this way, baby. You can do exactly what you want. And if you want to, kind of make it a little bit like Halo so it's familiar to some people, right?
And that's a smart move. You don't want to go too far in left field and miss your target audience or miss the people who are familiar with Bungie, familiar with what you do and what you're successful for. So I get that. But I almost felt like they brought in almost too much. Let's talk about the vehicle you can get. You know, the first motorcycle-like bike or speeder for you Star Wars fans. To me, that was just Halo. And even when you see it even more when you get to the Crucible, the player versus player was. I said, this is nothing but Halo. New uniforms, new guns. Same new maps, but the gameplay is just like Halo. This is just Halo. And I can remember when we did the E3 conference and they previewed this, first thing out of my mouth was, this is Halo in different suits.
But I'm not mad.
And this is where this went from being a single player, day one purchase, I have to have this in my library, to now player versus player. And I'm playing Halo. And I'm not, for you guys who don't know already, I wasn't the biggest Halo fan. Multiplayer wise, I felt like it moved too fast. I felt like the guns and stuff sometimes were overpowered.
And that's weird hearing you say that.
I didn't know who the hell was killing me.
that sounds so weird hearing you say that after Call of Duty. Like, that sounds so weird to me hearing you say that. But I get it. I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I get it.
But why do you get it?
Well, because there's similarities to that, right? It's just kind of walking into that unknown. A lot of times when we walk into something that we've never experienced or don't experience that much, we tend to not like it, right? We like what we feel comfortable with. That's just our nature.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Right.
So that's just how it is. But I'm gonna
tell you why I didn't like it. It didn't like it because when the multiplayer, the player versus player started, the first thing you could do was hop into like a Halo-like vehicle. I don't know what they call their tanks or their shooters or their ships or whatever. I'm like, that's right out of Halo. That's the same vehicle. Now, what is going on? Where am I? Like in the Xbox world.
Here's my feeling on this though, right?
All right.
Until the alpha came out, I honestly had no idea this game was going to have a multiplayer component to it, right?
Really?
I literally had my fingers crossed, hoping that it didn't, right? Because I felt like
you're such a hater, dude.
I felt I don't need it though for what this game is trying to be.
You have 4 brothers. You need it.
I don't need it because I know I'm gonna use that the least. So the fact that it's there now, to me, it's a plus. And then if I play it, I play it. If I don't, I don't. It to me, that ain't gonna make or break how I feel about this game.
You're breaking my heart, Anakin.
You're breaking my heart.
But so why would you want me to play something with you that you know you're not really going? You basically gonna force yourself to play this multiplayer. I hear it in your voice right now. You're gonna force yourself to play it, and you want me to enjoy it.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen.
I can watch you suffer in pain as you forcing yourself to play it and try and enjoy it.
Okay, so we had our heated text battle back and forth. I'm dogging it. I'm loving it. I'm dogging it. But I continued to play because you guys were right. But let me tell you why I continue to play. You guys were accusing me of not liking it because I didn't come into it and dominating it. Oh, you don't like it because you can't just be out there dominating.
That's the number one reason, right? If you go play basketball and you get your butt kicked, I hate basketball. I don't want to play no basketball, right?
No, that was not the case. That was not the case.
But it don't help.
I hated it because I played so many multiplayer maps.
Yeah.
That I understand they want to get you right into the action.
Yeah.
But two seconds after you enter a match, you should not be getting attacked by the other team. And I felt like, okay, you guys are really trying to push the action here.
Was your spawn point just a bad spawn point?
No, it is like playing a 12-player multiplayer game in your living room. Seriously.
So
seriously.
And maybe
think about that. Think about it.
I have to see. I mean,
okay.
we ain't seen all the maps. I didn't get a chance to play it. Right. I didn't hear Trigger Rick say anything like that. When I saw him play it, I did see the pace was erratic. Right.
Thank you.
Right. But to me, that's how I view like a first person multiplayer shooter, right? It's nonstop. I'm a running gunner. I'm not.
But it's such a huge difference than the single player, and that's what threw me off.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Yeah, you didn't say that at all.
So you in a single player, it's a multiplayer, whatever. I'm going to call it single player so we can understand it. You're in this vast world. You have this big old planet out in front of you.
In the campaign, we said.
In the campaign, and you're being attacked sporadically. And you're seeing aliens drop down or whatever, but you're being attacked sporadically. And then you get to the Crucible, and you walk into the Thunderdome, dude.
Yeah.
And there's no place to run, there's no place to hide.
So what if
it
was 3-on-3? Did you do a 6-on-6 or did you do a 3-on-3?
There were 6-on-6 matches, but here was the thing: the maps have to be bigger. If you're a sniper, which I am as a hunter, you're done.
You're saying so? It was a lot of close quarters. Forced close quarters.
You were literally fighting in the living room with 12 guys. You hide behind the couch. And it doesn't matter if you're getting covered because the dude's spawning behind you.
Yeah.
They have to make the maps bigger, and I'm sure that they're probably getting some feedback in.
But I'm not worried coming from Halo.
You don't play multiplayer.
I'm gonna tell you, coming from Halo, right? This has such huge Halo influence. I'm not worried because what Halo does is. They got so many maps that feel like this, so many maps that feel like that, so many maps that it's there, right? We're just not seeing it. And I've trusted Bungie for so long that I know when it comes out, those maps will exist.
Okay, but see, me being untrusting of Bungie and new to the experiment, you have the experience. You have to be careful because if I walk away with this impression of your game, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And luckily they have the single player that sold me already.
Right. And that's why they force you to play the single player when you first start out in the beta. You have no choice. There is no Crucible. You got to wait till like level 5. They's like, no. They's like, excuse me, sir. Right? No, too little. You know what I'm saying? So they know.
I walked in the door like, all right, what other people I want to kill them?
Yep, they know.
And they're like, no, hold on, Akimbo.
They know. So look, things are fleshed out. It's beta for a reason.
Right.
The game come out September. I'm highly anticipated. I'm scared. I'm gonna tell you why I'm scared because I feel like this game is gonna take over my life. I'm scared.
I felt like that too.
Oh,
I felt like I could see many evenings lost. I could see kids starving in the background.
You ain't achieved nothing. You ain't progressed nothing. Just soak time up. But that's a good thing, right? That's what we want out of $60.
We do, especially if like the little planets that they've shown so far. Just like Earth alone, you could have so many maps. But they've shown the moon. They've shown other planets.
Yeah, and I want to see like where are these other planets? I want to see them. I'm waiting.
Yes.
Right.
So one of the other aspects in the beta that they showed us was you do get a ship.
it doesn't play that big of a role.
No dog fights, right, in space, right?
No, they haven't shown any of that stuff. If that stuff comes, that'll be just another reason that I'll lose my life to this game. But
that's the scary part, man. If they surprise you like dog fights, and real quick, and I'll let you move on. And it made me think, right, because you can buy different ships.
And upgrade.
I'm like, why can't you buy different ships? Let me get a dog fight, baby.
Yeah. So it's gonna be real solid, man. So I'm gonna play the beta some more tonight. I'm gonna let you play it some more tonight. We could touch on it again next week as they wrap that up.
How it look on the PS3?
It's gorgeous.
On the PS3, they pulled some tricks off. So wait till you see it on the PS4. Then, if it's gorgeous on the PS3, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's so crispy on the PS4."
Here's my final word on this beta. And we've been talking about me getting a PS4. I was hoping Battlefield 4 or Watch Dogs was going to be that game that made you run out and say, "I want to play this on next gen." This is the game. Destiny is the game that will make me buy a next gen system.
And it's almost a year later too. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Watch now. Don't let go. Don't lose sight of Watch Dogs though.
I haven't lost sight of it. I'm gonna take it from you when you're done.
Trust me.
Hey, let's hit a break and come back.
All right. We come back and we get into some rant. I got a little bit of rant for y'all. We'll be back.
All right.
Got one this week. You know when I rant though, I ain't got to blow the moon up or nothing. I just got to get something off my chest. You know what really grinds my gears?
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Go ahead.
Cause you said this week you ain't got no rant. You real mellowed out.
I'm rant free, baby.
2 weeks, no rant. That's a first.
Last week.
Yeah, but it's been 2 weeks and you ain't got no rant still. So that's good. I mean, life been treating you well. You ain't got no rant. I got one.
I take a lot of anger out on the fools on The Last of Us, dog.
I got one. And
hit me with it.
My rant is not geared towards any video games.
Dun, 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 dun.
Man, I went to go see Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Great movie. Great.
No spoilers.
Loved it, right?
Okay.
Great. Loved it.
Right.
I went as early as possible in my area, which was a 10:45 show. Right? Cool. Let's go.
That's early for a movie, man.
It is, but
did they serve breakfast?
I missed it. It was 10:30. But what was cool was I just wanted to get up, go see it, and come home. Right. So accomplished. Mission accomplished. All right. Now, part of the deal going to see it at 10:45 was it was in 3D. Now you know me.
Oh boy.
I got no problem with 3D. I actually enjoy 3D. I would.
Is this 3D IMAX again?
This was regular real D 3D, right? That's part of my rant.
All right.
How cheap are movie companies where they making a ton of money off popcorn, drinks, and concessions, right? $4.25 for a bottle of water, right? That they don't want to turn the light bulb up on the projector so the movie ain't dark while you watching it in 3D.
Now, is that the movie theater?
This is the movie theater.
Right, so you mad at the movie theater, not the movie company.
Owner.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Cheap.
Yes.
Cheap. I mean, it was dark. Like, it was dark, and I had to take my glasses off, and it looked like what it should look like with the glasses on. I'm like, why is this so dark? Like, so what happens is, what people don't understand, and what a lot of people got gripe with 3D, right? They go see a 3D movie, and if it's not IMAX, right, or if it's not in the, one of the theaters that theater owners actually is like, this is our premier theater, this is what we show good movies in, the best experience. You get crappy 3D, or what happens is it's so dark, a lot of the scenes don't look 3D at all.
Right.
So people tend to go, why am I here paying this extra money? And it's barely anything in 3D. What a lot of people don't realize is if that light bulb on the projector is not bright enough, it's going to be a lot of scenes where you do not see the scene in 3D. It don't matter what movie, how it was shot, when it was shown. It doesn't matter, right? You're not going to get that full 3D effect. And I'm telling you, I could barely see 3D on that movie. And that is not what I was hearing from other people who went and saw it at IMAX. And I got real upset, man.
How upset did you get, Jay?
I felt like, it's one of them things where it's like you young and you like, you work for a company, McDonald's, and somebody wrote a letter and they was like, who cares? You wrote a letter. I'm like, I want to write a letter. Like this some BS right here, man.
You got to write a letter, man. Okay.
Because the next showing was at 11:45 in 2D and that was $5. So I paid $8.50 because I wanted to see it an hour early, and I basically paid the penalty to see it an hour early.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then when I got to see it, it didn't look that good. The sound was turned down real low. I'm just like, and people wonder why I have no problem going to see a movie in IMAX. Because when I get IMAX, that IMAX actually makes a cut off of every ticket sold. So what do? IMAX actually comes out and looks at the theaters. They have agents that come and check the theaters, make sure the sound quality on point, the projectors is working right, everything look good. You getting creme de la creme when you pay that additional money to go see a movie in IMAX. And when I saw this movie in Real D 3D, no knock on Real D, no knock on 3D, on the movie theater owner, step your game up. Don't charge me extra for popcorn when I can't even see the movie in the format it was meant to be seen in at that time.
$4.25 for a water.
Man, I was mad, dog, because I love going to the movies, right? Don't shortchange me. You know what I'm saying?
Now, let me hop on this with you. I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate on here. Well, I'm gonna jab you, and I'm gonna hit you with this uppercut. Have you not learned your lesson about 3D movies yet?
I have, and you know where I learned my lesson? Go to IMAX. That's how I fixed that. Right? I didn't want to drive the extra 15 minutes to go see it in IMAX. I just really didn't. I was already driving. You know what I'm saying? I moved, so I'm a little further from the movie theaters. I didn't want to do it. I could have, and it probably would have been a later showing, which probably meant I would have had to wait still. But then you got Guardians of the Galaxy coming up. You got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles coming up. Right. So, I already waited to go see the movie. I think it's been out almost 2 weeks now, going on 3. So I'm like, let me just go and catch it. And that's the last thing I expected, because I trust Real D 3D theaters.
Were you in the movie theater? Because you recognize it immediately when you sit down, because you know what it should be like.
Yep.
And so as you watch the movie, that thought is just bouncing around in your back of your head.
It lingers.
The whole movie is just taken away from the experience.
And I wasn't the only one, right? Because you know how you watch the previews, and normally at some point they tell you put on your 3D glasses, right?
Right.
And there was a little shorty with his dad sitting behind me, and the kid was like, "Is this in 3D?" And the little guy, the little intro to let you know, he stuck his hand out, and you could tell like it was meant to come at you.
Right.
But it just didn't quite get there because the screen was so dark. It was so dark. And the little kid was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess it is." And I was like, see, I'm not the only one, man.
Tell me about the theater. Is the theater packed, or is it just a couple people there? It can't be that packed.
It was probably about 15 people up in there.
Okay, so
I think I know what you're about to say, too.
Because you know where I'm going with this. I'm going to give you an example where I'm going with this. So I told y'all beginning of the month, I took my son to go see Earth to Echo. We get into the movie theater, and they're playing their previews, and, man, it is just loud, just obnoxiously loud, just loud to the point where my mom, we were sitting up at the top because my mom likes to sit in the back. She was like, this is way too loud. Let's move further down to get away from the speakers. Even when we moved further down to get away from the speakers, it was too loud. So
was that previews or the movie?
This is previews.
Okay.
Right? And I'm going to tell you, it's funny you say that, but I'm going to get back to that. Previews. I said, I'm not going to have this ruin my experience. So I went up, made the trip to the concession stand, found the manager. I'm in this theater. I think it's too loud. You need to come check it. And 2 of the dudes came scurrying out. And the first thing the dude said to me, might just be the previews. I said, whatever. Go check it. They come out. Well, I'm going to go inside and listen for myself. I don't care. Do what you need to go do. They got in there. What they do?
What they do, man?
They turned it down.
It was so, okay. It
was
loud. Somebody goofed up. It was
too loud. So, Jay, you mad right now, baby. But did you go tell them to turn the light up? If you knew
because they don't do
did you go get somebody to say, listen, that ain't right. I paid my $8. I paid another $4 for this water. Your popcorn ain't got the right salt on it. If I'm gonna have a bad experience.
But this ain't the first time that this happened.
Did you go tell somebody?
This is not the first time that this happened, and this is not something that's uncommon. Every movie theater does this. Example number 2, right? Very first Captain America movie, I went and saw it specifically in 2D at midnight. I was tired, baby. I didn't want to see it in 3D, right?
Quit doing that, man.
I was tired, right? So, like, man, like, almost at the end of the movie, and it was old school too. It wasn't a digital camera, and the film got ate up in the machine, right? And you could see it on the screen. It looks really creepy when it does that.
Okay.
So they said, okay, sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. We got a 3D movie that's 15 minutes behind you. Come over here. You can finish the movie over here, free of charge, plus refund. Bet. I walked in there. I didn't even want to finish that movie, dog. It was that was darker than what I saw today.
Was it the same theater?
It's the same theater.
So it sounds like to me somebody don't know what they're doing.
No. They know what they're doing. They're saving money.
You think it's to save money?
Yes. Wow. Yes, they're saving money.
Tell me how they're saving money.
They're saving money on not having to replace the light bulbs as often.
So basically the owner or manager has said, listen, we can turn this down a little bit, and then we can get a little bit more
down. You get extended life out of the light bulbs for the projectors.
You know, that almost sounds like something that the manufacturer of the light bulb has suggested to the movie theater. They probably said, yes, you can get a little bit more life out of it. Just turn your light bulb down a little bit.
No. Why would they suggest that? That's costing them money. They want to sell light bulbs.
Yeah, but it makes their product look bad.
That's an old school trick that movie theaters used to do to save money back in the day.
And they trying to do it now.
And they still doing it now.
And ain't nobody complaining about it.
People think that 3D look horrible.
I think 3D looks horrible. So maybe because I've seen it in this theater.
And that's why I always go to IMAX.
Damn.
That movie, when you go to IMAX, that camera, that sound system, everything is set to IMAX's standard.
Hey, yo, so check it. If you out there working in the movie theater, if you making popcorns, wiping toilets, you know what I'm saying, salting the popcorn,
if you're the manager.
Whatever, you listen to this show?
The owner.
We own to you. We know about you, baby, and we outing you right now. So get it together, turn the lights up, let's hit the break.
Welcome back. This is Power Pellet Podcast. Your co-host, Davench. I am here with my brother, Kimbo Merck. We are about to enter the cool down.
Yes, the cool down is where, after ranting like lunatics, we come in here and we talk real soft, like we're on NPR radio, like NPR lunatics. So here we are. Jay, couple cool things happened this week. That's why we call it the cool down.
Couple really cool things happened.
Yeah. So the Turtles, they dropped.
Woo! Hold on. Woo! Get my Ric Flair on.
Get your Ric Flair on. You gotta watch him now. He's flexing doing Ric Flair. Yeah. So
the elevator scene.
Hey, they dropped 2 trailers. I saw 2 trailers. One was kind of a mashup of all the trailers put together. Yeah. And then the other one was a standalone.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jay. These your boys. You know I've been beating them across the head. Hit me. What you like?
First off, when I saw the trailer, I first heard the trailer on Instagram, and they showed the Turtles, and they showed them dancing to the new Shell Shock song. If y'all ain't heard it, with Juicy J and Wiz Khalifa for the movie. And wait. The trailer.
No Vanilla Ice.
No.
Okay.
Yep. 20 years later, and all right, so they end the elevator and this dun 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 dun, and they were jamming right in the elevator, and the fool stopped and they was like, "Wow!" I was like, "Yeah, let's go!" I was like, "Let's go!" So I instantly sent it to you. I sent it to our cousin Kevin, and he was like, bruh. I was like, I can't wait. And you just showed more of the turtles interacting, man, and more of what we used to seeing. And I was like, man, they got it.
But if you want to say Kevin, our cousin Kevin, you got to do his voice, bruh. Because his voice, bruh. Yeah, it's real deep.
I instantly sent it to you, and I'm like, all right. And what did you say? You said something about Michael Bay, something.
I had to slay Bay, baby. Man, so this trailer, all right. So
the full 1 minute trailer, right? I was hot.
Yeah, I was ice cold on this movie. Y'all know I was ice cold. I've been dogging the Turtles for various reasons, good reasons. But they start showing more of the Turtles. They start showing more of the personalities with each trailer that's been dropping. And this last one, I could kiss Michael Bay.
It made you feel better, right?
I got chills talking about it because...
And they look good. The Turtles look so good.
It looked good, but let me just hit on some of the things that I loved about it, okay? You already talked about the elevator scene, and they dancing and they doing their thing, and they rocking it. I watched that scene. I rewind that just scene about 4 times because I'm like, hey man, doing it. Because I wanted to watch each turtle and see what they was doing.
Right,
and then
yeah.
The elevator doors open up and they run out like, we about to handle our business. But before that happens, you got Donatello talking about
That's my favorite turtle right there.
Yeah, Donnie talking about, what did he say? I want to do the cool thing
he's like, let me be the
tough one. He said, let me be the tough guy sometimes.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got Raphael getting into a fight with Leo, I think it was, wasn't it?
He's like, I'm tired of you bossing me around. And he punched the foot soldier.
And he punched the foot soldier.
Raphael, look when he did that.
Hey, did you see when he broke out of the chains?
Yeah.
It was like yeah. And then here's the coolest thing that made me sit back and just kind of give a mini golf clap to Michael Bay.
You go flame him and it's not his movie, and then you go give him credit and it's still not his movie.
His name on the title is his movie. A golf clap. When Michelangelo was sitting in the turtle van and he shoots the rocket out the van, I was like, that's the van. Yep. And anybody that's watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know they have a van that they ride around in the city. That wasn't even in any of the first 3 or 4 movies or whatever. It's in the movie. I'm geeked. I gotta see this. Check out the trailer. You will see why I am now.
No more worries. Is it official?
I have went from a 1 to a 10. I might even go to a midnight showing, man. I felt like they had they caught the personality of the Turtles, and they just wasn't trying to use the clothes like I was originally assuming. They actually let us hear their voice, hear them say some stuff. It looks so cool, man. It looks cool. This is a cool looking movie.
Look, the elevator scene alone.
That set it off.
The fools was in there getting it. They're shaking it to that music. And they was like, I was like,
Yeah, I gotta go see it.
I was like, I'm a Ninja Turtle too. Y'all ain't know it yet.
Hey, what Jay ain't told y'all, I don't know if we talked about this. We used to walk around the hood with homemade nunchucks, bows.
Oh yeah, you go cut a tree branch off. They got the little side sticking out like a sigh. Making nunchucks.
Right.
Yep, using broomsticks for Donatello.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Real quick. So yeah, I saw Planet of the Apes. You gotta go see it, man. You gotta go see it.
Yeah, I am. I'm waiting for you to come babysit so I can go see it.
Here's what the whole time I felt like I was watching this movie and I was like, oh my God, we need a new director for Transformers.
Really?
Because here's why, right? First off, like some of the visuals on this show, on this movie, if Apes does not win for visuals of the year at the Oscars, it's a ripoff.
I thought the one before this, the previous one,
Blow It Out the Water, dog.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Blow It Out the Water.
Because they did Caesar so well.
No, like this. And it was true, right? I was reading, people were saying they were equating this movie to Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars. Wow. This is the Empire Strikes Back to Star Wars, right? The movie is great. When I say great, like 9.0 and above.
Wow.
Like 4.5 out of 5 stars. Like,
but didn't we say this though? When we were previewing movies, we said this one has a chance to be movie of the year, your sleeper movie of the year, because of not because of the story, but just the overall Apes and just what they're gonna do.
The writing. The writing for this type of movie was very good. The action was on point. The story made so much sense. And the apes, Caesar, I'm gonna tell you, Caesar the man. He the man. He the man. Caesar the man.
He the man.
Caesar the man, dude. See, everything about this movie was so right. Ain't no after the credit scenes. They cut that out. So don't go in. You ain't got to wait after the credit. But it's smart because they left it wide open.
Go to the bathroom after the movie over.
I wish you saw this movie, but man, and the director did such a good job. The tone, the pace. It was a couple of spots where it did slow down just a little bit, and I got it because they were telling the story, right?
Okay.
And I was kind of like, everything that I was seeing him do with this movie, I was like, well, man, how come he couldn't do Transformers? So I got to get out of that mode. But
you really do,
in
man.
the end, but well, last podcast. So in the end, great movie, great, okay, cool. Great.
I'm on it. I'm gonna bring my kids out to you, leave them on the doorstep with a bottle of milk and a note, and then I'm gonna take the wife and we're gonna see it. Oh my god,
it's amazing! It's amazing, dog.
Last thing before we shut this down, couple cool things happened recently. So everybody knows J.J. Abrams is doing the new Star Wars 7, as it's being referred to. They're also doing this thing called Force for Change. It's a charity thing that they're doing, and he's been giving people peeks of set materials and things that are going to be in the movie. And you also got some people who are leaking photos of the set. Let me talk to those people. Stop it.
Supposedly, somebody said that those are fake.
Okay.
Or that's himself doing it to see who's leaking the photos.
Okay. Stop it. Because I don't want to see something that's half done that's going to be misleading. I want to see what JJ is showing me. And so what JJ showed me in his last Force for Change video, he showed me the X-Wing. Now, I might get choked up on y'all. I can tell you that I remember getting my first X-Wing fighter as a Christmas toy. I remember opening the Christmas present. I remember seeing it in the box. I remember...
I didn't break it, did I?
No, you were too young. I remember Luke Skywalker and his orange fighter pilot suit. Yeah. Yes. I remember R2-D2. He
you could take him out, right?
This one you couldn't.
Oh, you had to spin the head.
Yeah, you could spin the head. And so, and it had a button on the back. When you pushed it, the little light on the front lit up, and then the X-Wing, the wings on it opened and closed. And I think there was a trigger under it that did it. And it had the...
Yeah, because you could hold it.
Yeah.
Like it had like almost like a gun type of gimmick.
No,
was that a different model?
Yeah, that was a newer model. Okay. The older model didn't have that. But it did have the landing gear that you could flip in and out on your own. This was my favorite. It was my first Star Wars toy. It was my favorite toy. So again, JJ comes out and he shows you the new version of it, and this was blue. The original was kind of a reddish orange type color. And then while he's giving his spiel for the Force for Change, the pilot walks by in his suit, climbs up it. He stumbles a little bit. I want to smack him. You don't stumble getting on the X-Wing, baby. He stumbled a little bit and got it to it. And I just sat there with my jaw dropped for about 10 minutes, replaying this, man, because I was that
nostalgia, huh?
Yeah. I was that 7-8-year-old kid again, and I'm just like, he gets it. He gets it. Yeah. This movie, I think, is going to be excellent,
man.
Yeah. So that's it, Jay. That's all I got. Got anything else? I'm cool.
Yeah. Power Pellet Podcast. You can reach us on YouTube, Facebook. Search us on Stitcher. Power Pellet Podcast. You can also reach me personally on Twitter, Davench Tunami, DAVENCHTUNENAMI.
I am Akimbo Merk. You can find me on Twitter at Muse Hunter, MUSE.
You changed your picture too.
I did. I changed it up a little bit. Let me see how handsome I was. Also, I just want to again tell you, we have a new group page on Facebook. It's the Power Pellet Podcast group. So you can definitely go there. That's the page I'll be updating with gaming articles and with our newest shows and things like that. I'm kind of getting away from the actual business page of it because Facebook is trying to charge me money to talk to y'all, and I think it's dumb. So they're being greedy, and I'm trying to move forward. I just want to talk to y'all. I'm lonely. Nobody gave. That's a lot.
Post your comments and feedback.
Yes,
on the episodes
and everything that we talk about on the show. You can find links and articles on the actual page itself. We're also on Twitter. I see a lot of you guys continue to follow us on Twitter. If you're following me or you're following Davench, make sure you follow the podcast Twitter handle as well. Pellet.
I can't edit that.
Twitter. You ain't got to edit it.
Power Pellet Podcast, episode 11. We appreciate y'all listening. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching.
And you can find all the shows on YouTube. So
all the back catalog on YouTube. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.